Hello, good morning, and welcome back to CS492F, Futures of the World, Part 2, Flipped Learning, students presenting their visions and their suggestions about guiding for the future of their vision. And today we're discussing topic A, future of economics and occupation. We already discussed the future of economics last time. So I guess this time will be about the future of occupation, but we'll see. It's up to you. And I understand that this presentation will be given by Eunso Kim and Ji-hwan Bang. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. I'm a master student in computer science. So today we prepare about the future of economy. So yeah.
I'm a PhD student in computer science. And I will present the future of occupation.
Okay, I see. Yeah, so let's start. So last class, our team member Tamir presented about the future of economy. So today, I and Jihan will introduce about the future of occupation. Before start our presentation, I want to share one video. This video is about the job report 2023, which predicts about the future of jobs. So let's watch this.
Now, if you're a college-going student,
Did you hear the sound?
Yes, very well.
or just about to enter college, or someone who is trying to switch careers, then this report is for you. The latest World Economic Forum report tells us about the hottest jobs in the next 5 years across the world. Continue watching to find out more on our next report.
The world is going through a disruption. Technologies like artificial intelligence and robotics are changing the way businesses operate. Going green is the new mantra, and sustainability seems to be the way forward. But many fear that these disruptions will come at the cost of certain jobs. At a time when mass layoffs are a daily affair, a new report by the World Economic Forum paints a grim jobs outlook. In the next 5 years, employers around the world expect a net loss of 14 million jobs. So while 69 million jobs will be added in the next 5 years, 83 million will be eliminated in the same period. But the 14 million job losses proposed by the report are more complex than you may think. Trends like green transition and the adoption of big data, cloud computing, and AI are likely to see a positive growth in the future. But that is obviously after some disruptions in the labor market. So what are the top jobs? Electric vehicle specialists are going to be the stars of the job market in the next few years, followed by AI and machine learning specialists and environment protection professionals. Sustainability specialists, fintech, and data analysts are also likely to shine in the next 5 years. But here's a surprise too. It's not just big tech and green jobs that will be in demand. Heavy truck and bus drivers, vocational education teachers, mechanics and machinery repairers will also be in high demand. But the future may well belong to green jobs, says the report. Green jobs may end up helping not just the environment but also the economy. Green jobs are likely to add 30 million jobs by 2030 and also add 3.5% to the global economy. Now you know which job will help you stay ahead in the job market. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Yes, this video was about the future job report. And I start our presentations with this video because we also start our research about this presentation in here. So yeah, so I share this video firstly. So in this video, they said that AI and green jobs will rule the world. So from these subtitles, our first content is how AI changed the future occupation. And next, second content is what are green jobs and why they are important. And lastly, we will discuss about what are other jobs that are expected to grow in the future. So firstly, I prepared about the AI and occupation. So let's watch the first video. This is about the overall impact of AI on jobs.
How many of you here have been thinking about what you want to do and what you want to be over the past year? No presentation. And how many of you have thought about how artificial intelligence is going to impact your career choices? So I make my living in technology, which makes me a nerd, right? And like all good nerds, I love the idea of cars driving themselves. I started getting involved in self-driving car technology when I worked at a Caltech lab about 12 years ago. However, the people who this technology is going to impact the most and most immediately, the 3.5 million truck drivers across the US and Europe, have only started realizing that this is going to impact them over the past couple of years. They could have had an opportunity over the last 10 years to develop new skills as well as make different career choices. So what happened? Why did AI sneak up on them? This may be a bit of a surprise to some of you, but we've been talking about artificial intelligence since 1956. AI has been around for a while, but there have been AI winters and there have been AI booms several times. Right? So what is it about the last 7 years that has actually made applications like self-driving technology viable for the first time? There are 3 things that happened at the same time. Number 1, data collection and data processing became easier because of better technologies. Right? You need data to fuel AI training, and that's been one of the big drivers. The second thing that has happened is that computer processing has become faster. That's like the engine. So no matter how much fuel you have, if you don't have that engine, then processing the data in a time frame that's reasonable was actually just not possible. And the third thing that's happened is that new algorithms have been developed, which have made AI much more powerful. So technology has been changing and developing at a pace that's much faster than ever before. And we have not been used to this rapid pace of change, which means that we have not been used to thinking about how it's going to impact our immediate future. None of us here can imagine our lives without WhatsApp or Instagram, right? However, any of us that lived in the era of SMSs were not able to imagine what life would have been like differently as well. I spent the last 4 years of my life working on technology, which has the power to actually automate the job of 2 million salespeople. Sales and marketing related jobs comprise some of the majority of jobs across most countries outside of agriculture. However, by 2020, over 25% of these sales and marketing related jobs from the last decade are likely to be lost. Let me explain to you why that is the case and use a story of 2 friends, Jeff and John, to explain that. So John and Jeff got sales jobs in 2009. They had great relationships with their customers. They hit their targets. They had happy lives. John, in 2012, started realizing that some of his customers were not coming to him for advice anymore, but they were coming to him with a clear idea of what they wanted to buy. This number kept on increasing with time, but he was happy and comfortable and didn't mind it. So John effectively became an order taker. At the same time, Jeff continued to develop relationships with clients that were deeper, continued to develop expertise in complex products, and his customers relied on him for his expertise. So Jeff became a sales consultant. Now in 2019, John got fired. Jeff continued to do well at his job. what was the reason for the difference in the fate of the two friends? One very big, surprising answer and factor is Google and its AI. What Google's done is given all of us the power to get the relevant information we want at our fingertips. This has created a shift in how things are bought, but it didn't happen overnight. This started in 2004, but the major change only happens starting 2012 onwards. Google's taken away about 65% of salespeople's jobs that were primarily order takers, and the ones that are remaining are likely to be gone over the next decade. So John got blindsided by this, but none of us have to be anymore. When you think about jobs and career choices, it's important to think about it in the form of what are the different components and tasks that go into a job. So for example, when you think about a chef's job, you can think about the fact that a chef has to be creative, a chef has to manage a team of people and cook. An accountant has to build relationships with clients as well as do the actual accounting. These tasks, if they are rule-based, repeatable, predictable, and rote, are very vulnerable to the power of AI. Even if you're building AI, if the tasks to build that AI fall in this bucket, that same AI is going to come back and take away that task from you sooner or later. So when you think about a job or a career choice, if a majority of the tasks that comprise that career choice are likely to be these vulnerable tasks, then that is a career at risk in the future. So what are the tasks that AI will find hard to do? Anything that's unpredictable, anything that requires skills like creative thinking or empathy or interpersonal skills, those things are going to be very human for a long time. I organized a brainstorming session with my team yesterday to discuss new product ideas. We had people who came from different roles, engineering, design, product. And everyone came up with great ideas. Business people were doing engineering ideas, and design people were trying to do business, and engineers were also trying to show off and do marketing. But that didn't work out so well. So these are the kind of things that AI can't do. Absolutely not. There are a lot of things that are available in terms of options. You can be a sales manager, you can be a lawyer, you can be a writer, you can be an engineer building new products, you can be an event planner. There's a lot to do that AI can't touch. And the way I see it, the parts of work that we don't like, we can outsource to the robots. So anything to do with data entry or laundry, I hate laundry, that can go to the robots. So give this knowledge away. Share this with people. The people that are most vulnerable to these changes are the ones that are most likely to get this knowledge only from you and not from other sources. AI is very powerful if used the right way, and it's important for people to understand its pros and cons. And I hope that this can be helpful to all of you here and everyone else you talk to.
So now we briefly learned about the AI and its effect on jobs. So nowadays there are two main opinions about the AI and the occupation, which is that whether AI will decline the jobs or not. So this is the main debate of our related to our topic. So let's learn about this.
A decade ago, robots still seemed pretty limited. Now, not so much. And computers don't just win chess anymore, they can win Jeopardy!
Watson, what is the elegance of the hedgehog?
They can win Go!
There are about 200 possible moves for the average position in Go.
This is all happening really fast, and it's causing some to forecast a future where humans can't find work.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better.
And what are the people going to do?
That's the $64,000 question.
I believe this is going to be one of the biggest challenges we face in the coming decades.
People who are not just unemployed, they are unemployable.
But if you ask economists, they tend to have a pretty different view from the futurists and Silicon Valley types.
Do you worry that new technologies could cause mass unemployment?
Yes.
No.
I have devoted my career to worrying about the labor market, particularly worrying about the living standards of low and moderate income workers. So I worry a lot about things. I am not worried about this.
One of the reasons a lot of economists are skeptical about robots taking all the jobs is that we've heard that before.
There was a spike of automation anxiety in the late 20s, early 1930s, when machines were starting to take over jobs on farms and also in factories. This article from 1928 points out that there were guards who used to open and close the doors on subway trains, and people who took tickets before there were turnstiles. And I just love this quote. It says, "Building materials are mixed like dough in a machine and literally poured into place without the touch of a human hand." Automation anxiety surged again in the late 1950s, early 1960s. President Kennedy ranks automation first as job challenge. Computers and automation threaten to create vast unemployment and social unrest. This article from 1958 is about 17,000 longshoremen who were protesting automation on the piers. And if you don't know what longshoremen are, it's because there aren't many of them left. Technology destroyed a lot of those jobs. And yet, we didn't run out of work.
This chart shows the percentage of prime-age people with jobs in the US. Ever since women joined the workforce in big numbers, it's stayed around 80%, outside of recessions. During this period, technology displaced some 8 million farmers in the US, 7 million factory workers, over 1 million railroad workers, hundreds of thousands of telephone operators. We've lost gas pumpers, elevator attendants, travel agents. Tons of jobs have died, but work persists.
What you realize when you look through these old reports is that it's really easy for us to see the jobs being replaced by machines. It's a lot harder to visualize the jobs that come from what happens next.
New technology creates jobs in a few ways. There are the direct jobs for people who design and maintain the technology, and sometimes whole new industries built on the technology. But the part we tend to forget is the indirect effect of labor-saving inventions. When companies can do more with less, they can expand, maybe add new products or open new locations. And they can lower prices to compete. And that means consumers can buy more of their product. Or if we don't want more of it, we can use the savings to buy other things. Maybe we go to more sports events or out to dinner more often. Maybe we get more haircuts or add more daycare for the kids. This process is how our standard of living has improved over time, and it's always required workers.
The key sort of economic logic here is automation does indeed displace workers who are doing work that got automated, but it doesn't actually affect the total number of jobs in the economy because of these offsetting effects.
Warnings about the end of work tend to focus on this part and not all of this, like a widely cited study from 2013.
According to research conducted by Oxford University, nearly half of all current jobs in America,
47% of all our jobs,
47% of U.S. jobs in the next decade or two, according to researchers at Oxford, will be replaced by robots.
That study assessed the capabilities of automation technology. It didn't try to estimate the actual extent or pace of automation or the overall effect on employment. Now, all this doesn't mean that the new jobs will show up right away or that they'll be located in the same place or pay the same wage as the ones that were lost. All it means is that the overall need for human work hasn't gone away. Technologists and futurists don't deny that's been true historically, but they question whether history is a good guide of what's to come.
Fundamentally, the argument is that this time is different. That's what I think. Imagine a form of electricity that could automate all the routine work. I mean, that's basically what we're talking about here. And so it's going to be across the board.
And it is easy to underestimate technology these days. In a 2004 book, 2 economists assessed the future of automation and concluded that tasks like driving in traffic would be enormously difficult to teach to a computer. That same year, a review of 50 years of research concluded that human-level speech recognition has proved to be an elusive goal. And now?
Okay, Google. How many miles has Google's autonomous vehicle driven?
According to Recode, that's because the company announced its self-driving car project, which was created in 2009, has racked up over 2 million miles of driving experience.
This is the textbook chart of advancement in computer hardware. It's the number of transistors that engineers have squeezed onto a computer chip over time. Already pretty impressive, but notice that this isn't a typical scale. These numbers are increasing exponentially. On a typical linear scale, it would look more like this. It really is hard to imagine this not being massively disruptive. And as the authors of The Second Machine Age point out, processors aren't the only dimension of computing that has seen exponential improvement.
The idea of acceleration in your daily life, when do you encounter that? When maybe in a car for a few seconds, in an airplane for seconds again. The idea that something can accelerate for decades, literally just continuously, is just not something that we deal with. I mean, we think in straight lines.
But even though there's been all this innovation, it's not showing up in the data.
If we were seeing this big increase in automation, we would see productivity growing much more rapidly now than it usually does. And we are instead seeing the opposite.
Labor productivity is a measure of the goods and services we produce divided by the hours that we work. Over time, it goes up. We do more with less labor. We're more efficient. If we were starting to see a ton of labor-saving innovation, you'd expect this line to get steeper. But when you look at productivity growth, you can see that it's been slowing down since the early 2000s, and not just for the US. It's possible that new technologies are changing our lives without fundamentally changing the economy.
So will this all change? Will today's robots and AI cause mass unemployment? There's reason to be skeptical, but no one really knows.
But one thing we do know is that the wealth that technology creates, it isn't necessarily shared with workers. When you account for inflation, the income of most families has stayed pretty flat as the economy has grown.
One of the problems we've seen over the last 40 years is that we have seen all this rising productivity growth, but it actually hasn't been broadly shared. It's been captured by a thin slice of people at the top of the income distribution.
Even if unemployment stays low, automation might worsen economic inequality, which is already more extreme in the US than it is in most other advanced countries. But technology isn't destiny. Governments decide how a society weathers disruptions, and that worries people on both sides of the debate about the future of work.
You know, we've adopted policies that instead of really trying to counteract the trend caused by technology and globalization and other things, we've, in many cases, you know, exacerbated them, right? We put a wind at the back of them and made them even more extreme, and that's a big problem.
We'll probably always be fascinated by the prospect of robots taking our jobs. But if we focus on the things we can't really control, we risk neglecting the things we can.
Yeah, so we watched the video about the two views, economical and technical views about this AI and occupation. So what do you think about this topic? I hope we can discuss this after this presentation. So let's move on to the green jobs. So do you know what is the green jobs? I will share the one videos about the green jobs. It is really short. Yes, so this is the green jobs. So what is the future of green?
Today I am drinking Citizen Cider from Vermont. It's called the Dirty Mayor, but I also like that it visualizes the data on the back and tells me it's a little on the sweet side, which I enjoy.
I am going to be drinking Wild Thing by Artifact from Florence, Massachusetts. It's got trees, it's green. And I'm Will.
and we're back to talk to you today about green jobs. Hey Will, did you know that last year there were nearly 300,000 green job postings and that green employment is poised to grow 5.7% in the next 5 years?
Actually, I did. With the passage of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we can expect a renewed push towards a greener economy. But what does that actually mean for the job market? How do we know where to look and who to look for when it comes to staffing green jobs?
As part of Working Nation's Green Jobs Now campaign, we've been working to both define and quantify the green workforce.
You probably get a certain picture in your mind when you hear the phrase green job, maybe a solar installer or engineer working on wind turbines. While it is true that both of those occupations would be considered green, there is far more to the green workforce. A much wider range of jobs will require workers to have green skills like knowledge of home energy efficiency. Think of all the workers who are going to have to install and repair energy efficient appliances, service electric vehicles, or program the software that will make these advances possible.
In addition, That's okay. I was just gonna
I was like starting to run. I was like,
In addition, there are all the workers at companies that are part of the green economy who work in service of the green cause. These are the accountants, the warehouse workers, on and on. Taking this broad view of green jobs, we find that in 2021, there were almost 300,000 job postings for positions in the green economy, a 35% increase over 2020.
Did you know that green jobs can be found across over 600 occupations? This corresponds to more than 1 million employed workers. As more workers are needed to fill green economy roles, it is important to think about how workers in non-green jobs can transition to fill these open and often lucrative green job openings. That would include current workers in manufacturing and production, sales, or construction, just to name a few.
These potential green workers can serve as a large talent pool that employers can tap. These workers would require little training and could be redeployed into green jobs quickly.
Cheers.
How many green jobs might there be in 5 years? We expect openings on the order of 317,000 in 2026, maybe more with the passage of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.
So what should we do? Between now and then, training providers could think about ways to reskill existing workers. Employers, they can look for existing pools of talent they could redeploy, and workers, they can seek out green jobs and the green skills they need to qualify for those positions.
If the future is green, then maybe worker skills should be too.
Signing off for IMSI Burning Glass.
Yeah, so actually this was the past videos, but it really gives us some insights of the future of the green jobs. So I shared these videos. So the reason why I talk too much about these two topics, AI and the environment or the green, is because these are two important topics nowadays and also will be more important in the future. So that they will largely affect on the future of occupation too. So from now on, I want to share about the jobs that will be grow in the future. This section is derived from the statistics of Future Job Report 2023 that I show you in the first video. But also these parts contain our own expectations too. So firstly, the job about the biotechnology and bioinformatics will be increased. So I will show what is further research areas about this topic.
Regulations. What happens when humans begin combining biology with technology?
It is the power to recode life itself.
We will see human organ farms, governments using artificial wombs to rebuild populations, robots with biological parts. There will be genetically altered humans who are able to heal people through touch, and so much more. This is the world of biotechnology.
Yes, so this area has still a long way to go. So also it will be developed in the future and it will be there's so many occupations. Second is the job related with teaching. As the technology really fastly developed, the teachers who teach about this technology will be also needed. For example, teachers who teach about what is AI and how we can utilize it is needed. And also, interest for special education is increasing and the teacher about special education will be also grow. So new kinds of teaching will be developed and therefore the developer teachers will be also increased. Also, the jobs about your relationship will be also appeared. So do you know there is renter friend or family in the Korea? This is just one example of new relationship in the future. And also the relationships in metaverse can also make new jobs. So now I will turn to Jiwan and he will talk more detailed and technical future jobs. Jiwan, can you share the screen?
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Jiwan, so I will continue to explain the future of jobs. So the first one is the data scientist. So as you know, there are lots of massive amount of data, and the stored data increases. So using the massive amount of data, we can predict the user's behavior or some insights of the new business, something like that. So yeah, so I will share the video about the data scientist. So this video explains what is the big data and why it is important.
There's about 5 billion. Most information possible out of massive amounts of data. Apply it to some of the problems today. And I'd like to leave you with one impression, and that is that the big data ecosystem is real. It's in the first inning of a 9-inning game. And in the next 5 years, there's virtually no aspect of our lives that isn't going to be affected. Some examples, which we all are quite familiar with, pre-1993, the way people find jobs today, totally different. Pre-1993 to today, the way we trade our stocks. Pre-1993 to today, the way we find love. We could spend the next 15 minutes and talk about all the things that the internet's affected. Whether it's how you manage your health, how you connect with your friends, how you stay in touch with your friends, how you invest your money, how you find new customers for your business. The list, virtually our lives every day are untouched by that one technological revolution. Between 1970 and 1993, if you used all the commercial data you could find to solve any problem in your personal and business life, the inventory of data you had to work with was about 1 billion gigabytes of data. The birth of the internet dramatically accelerated how data is captured, stored, collected, and available for use. Today, like 2014, there's about 5 billion gigabytes a day that's structured and available for use. By the way, that 5 billion gigabytes a day is constructed from about 25 billion gigabytes of data collected, stored every day, available for use, of which today we only have the technology to structure 5 billion gigabytes of it. That's the big data ecosystem. We all know that that massive amount of data, without the ability to use it, isn't worth very much. The other remarkable thing about this ecosystem is at the same moment in time that the data exists, the technologies to process it, structure it, in our trade, so-called hygiene it, meaning make it clean for consumption in the decisioning systems, the ability to extract insights from that data through new technologies that allow massive amounts of data to be processed at minimal cost in very short periods of time, and the ability to deliver that data to the point of use. These 4 elements of decisioning, massive amounts of data, the ability to structure it, the ability to find the insights, and the ability to deliver the insight to the point of use, are all coming together at this same moment in time. The way our lives will change is today, we ask ourselves, what decisions do I have to make? What data is out there that I could use? It won't be long before we say, here's the decision I want to make. I know all data is available. How can I ask the question of that ecosystem and get my answer? I don't need to know exactly what I'm looking for. I'll give you a few living examples. These are systems that are operational. For example, the two major cancer institutes in the United States have assembled all the electronic data. There's about 15 years of electronic data on cancer treatment of individual patients. It's tens of millions of cases. The best oncologists in these best centers, when presented with a new cancer case, say they can keep track in their minds of 6 to 8 similar cases. The system keeps track of 10,000 similar cases. So today, in this experimental lab, the best oncologists in the world asked the system, what would be the best course of care for this patient? Because for 10,000 similar cases, they know what the course of care was, they know what the outcome was. So where today, in the normal cancer center, an experienced oncologist might think of 6 similar cases, he would use the system to go in and look at those 6 cases to refresh his memory about what the course of care was. And based on that and his kind of medical judgments would create a new course of care. Today, the system will do that and do it better 85% of the time. By the way, that's in the best cancer center in the world. Think of the power of that system in the worst cancer center in the world, where the oncologist would likely have no similar case. That system's being deployed. People are using it. One of the interesting things I'm working on is when we have those health records on millions of people kept private in these, very professional institutions, we're in the process of marrying all the food choices those people have made for the last 15 years. It's been about 15 years since when all of you go to the grocery and your products are scanned at the point of sale, that data is captured, you save. That's part of this 5 billion gigabytes a day of content not yet used, but available. So think of it, hundreds of thousands of people knowing exactly what food they consumed over the last 15 years. The debate about food and health will be over. There's no point to track a panel of 10,000 people when you can look at what everybody ate and what their health state was. By the way, in the initial findings of this, and these are just kind of fun findings before the data really becomes apparent, there is some good news, as we all suspected. Fat doesn't seem to have any impact on health. So if you leave with nothing else today, you can take that good news away. Now, and think about the way we're all going to think about this. I'll give you one last example. I'm going to show you a real system. I was on a plane a couple months ago. Happened to be sitting next to a doctor, a cancer doctor, oncologist. And he said to me that part of his treatment is to prescribe this drug that's not generally prescribed for cancer. And I said, why are you doing that? This is a drug that's actually used for diabetes. And he said, because over the 20 years of his practice, he's seen these patients come in who have these serious cancers that seem to be arrested for no cause. And when he saw that fact, he went back on his own initiative and discovered that many of these patients happen to take this drug for diabetes that seemed to have an effect on cancer. And once he observed that, he now prescribes it and has had some remarkable performance. So it's applying a drug created for another problem to a solution for a different disease. And when you start to see what the big data ecosystem can do, the thought it generated, which I'm in the process of working on, is to take all of the prescriptions written, matching it with these food outcomes, and systematically go through every drug for every disease state and identify all the drugs that have a benefit to a disease. That disease is unknown, that benefit's unknown. So what the doctor did in his own practice over 20 years, methodologically we can do today for every drug, every disease state. By the way, you would also find out the negative impact drugs had on diseases that the drug wasn't developed for. So that's the way we're going to think about data. Whether you're planning a ski trip to South America, you won't be looking up flight times and hotels. You'll be saying to the system, I want to go to South America. I want to do these things. Let me tell you about me. And the system will plan the itinerary for you that people like you have used where they've had the best experiences. So this will be everywhere.
Yeah. So the next one is the transportation. So currently there are lots of bus and truck drivers for delivery, but many due to the development of technology, there exists new transportation such as drone taxi or aerial delivery. So, sorry. Yeah, so let's see the first video for drone taxi.
Flying drone taxis. They are for real. The test flight event was held in Seoul. According to Jeong, this could be a common sight should the government successfully commercialize the tech by 2025.
With propellers spinning, an electric-powered pilotless drone taxi took off into the sky above Seoul for the first time for a 7-minute test flight over the Han River. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport and Seoul Metropolitan Government jointly hosted an event on Wednesday to present the technology.
The government is pushing to commercialize urban air mobility by 2025. We are holding this demonstration in order for citizens to actually see the development of UAM.
The ministry said that between now and 2040, the drone taxi and the new transport system will create around 160,000 jobs and have an economic impact of $20 billion. At the event, smaller drones also delivered letters and presents to the attendees. Tech companies also had the opportunity to showcase their latest drone taxi models that could potentially reduce traffic congestion in urban areas in the near future. It'll only take 20 minutes by drone taxi to travel the 40 kilometers from Yeouido, Western Seoul to Incheon International Airport, a journey that usually takes an hour by car. And as the technology develops, drone taxis will become more affordable.
I think South Korea, we have a very strong government. The motivation, they are very motivated. They really like to help the industry. Korea has a really good component technologies like batteries and the motors. And so I think we are quite well posed.
However, the expert said safety standards such as air certification, operation, and traffic control need to be worked out before commercialization. Jeong,
Not only South Korea, but also the other countries such as China or Saudi Arabia, maybe, will service the drone taxi until 5 years. Yeah, and then the second video shows that Amazon will launch the service of aerial delivery.
One of the capabilities that this drone has is that not only is it fully autonomous, which means that it does not have a pilot. We load the mission into the drone at the delivery station as we load the package into the drone and send it off to complete its delivery. That box is the only size box that fits inside the drone. And so all of the products that are available all fit inside that box. Our drones fly 12 kilometers round trip, and they make one delivery on each trip. If when it gets to its delivery location, your dog runs underneath the drone, we won't deliver the package. We'll go back to the delivery station and let the customer know that that we weren't able to deliver the package.
Yes, so I think in the near future, the drone taxi or aerial delivery services will be launched by some governments of the countries or some big tech companies such as Amazon or other delivery service company. So I think it's just a personal opinion, but I think the jobs such as bus driver or truck driver, something like some jobs related to the delivery service can be disappeared by automation. The next part is the space explorers. So in the past, only research institute like NASA, some other space research center sponsored by governments explores the space because it costs the massive amount of the money. So and there is no profitable compared to the money input. So so many companies do not develop their technologies for the space exploration. But currently, some companies are trying to get the benefit by exploring the space, such as the migration to other planets. Actually, that is the Elon's purpose. So let's see the video of the SpaceX. Is it no sound? Or
It's no sound.
oh really? Why? But yeah, but this video is no some yeah, the sound is not important for this video, so let's see just a video. that is the vision of the SpaceX company. So we can see that Elon has a big passion to immigrate to the Mars. So this is the new news in the SpaceX. So SpaceX continues to develop their spaceflight technologies for safe flights and reducing the cost. So lots of engineers work in SpaceX, and currently there are lots of layoffs due to the economic circumstances, but SpaceX aggressively hires the engineers in various areas, such like this figure. Yeah. And the next one is the space tourism. So if we can tour the space, then there are lots of business models for tourism, so such as a space guide or space hotel management. Actually, it is a far future services, but a few years ago, Blue Origin company launched their space travel with Bezos, who is the Amazon CEO. So there is a video clip, but I will skip it due to our limited time. And this is the last slide for the future way of living. So the video clips contain the jobs that we explain, and there is a new. So please watch it and think about the future of jobs that we do not mention before in this slide.
Welcome to a glimpse of the future, where it's 2050. As we look around, we can see that technology has advanced in ways that we never thought possible. From artificial intelligence that can understand and respond to our emotions, to biotechnology that can extend our lifespans, the future is here. One of the most significant advancements we see is in the field of renewable energy. Solar and wind power have become the primary sources of energy, reducing our dependence on fossil fuels and helping to combat climate change. We also see a shift towards smart cities, where technology is integrated into every aspect of urban life, from transportation to building design, making our cities more efficient and sustainable. In our homes, we see the rise of virtual reality and augmented reality, which have become integral parts of our daily lives. Whether it's for entertainment, education, or communication, these technologies have transformed the way we interact with the world. In the medical field, we see a breakthrough in the use of genetic engineering and personalized medicine. We have the ability to detect diseases early on and tailor treatments to the individual, leading to a significant reduction in the number of deaths from illnesses. Transportation is likely to become much more efficient and sustainable with the widespread use of electric and autonomous vehicles. This will greatly reduce emissions and improve traffic flow, making our cities cleaner and safer. Another area that is likely to see significant advancements is in the field of robotics and automation. We will see more robots and automation systems being used in manufacturing, agriculture, and other industries, which will greatly increase productivity and efficiency. This will also lead to the creation of new jobs and business opportunities. In the field of communication, we will see the continued development of 5G and 6G networks, which will greatly increase the speed and reliability of internet connections. This will enable us to access more data and services faster and will greatly improve our ability to communicate with each other. In the field of space exploration, we will see a renewed interest in space exploration and colonization. This will be driven by advancements in propulsion technology and the development of new materials, which will make it possible to explore deeper into space and to establish permanent settlements on other planets. As we look at the future, we can see that technology is making our lives easier and more comfortable. But it's not just about the technology, it's about how we use it. We are becoming more conscious of the impact of our actions on the environment and on society, and we're making choices that promote sustainability and equality. We can see a future where people live in harmony with nature, where technology enhances our lives rather than controlling them, and where we are able to achieve a balance between economic growth and social well-being. As we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible, we must remember that the future is not set in stone. It's up to us to shape it, to make it a future that is worth living.
Yes, this is the last video in our presentation. So we list up, So we list up the discussion points. So the first one is are there other jobs that we do not discuss? And the second one is we explain lots of the various of the future jobs, but is there any job that you do not agree with? And the third one is would the AI decline jobs? Yeah, so thanks for listening. And this is the end of the presentation, and I will toast to the professor.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for this great presentation. And maybe can we take a kind of a group picture of all three presenters together? So I'm going to put the spotlight on all three of you. And okay, anyway, never mind. Thank you. And yeah, let's now proceed to the discussion. There's not much time left. You gave a great presentation, but I would also like to save a few minutes to collect some feedback and some recommendation for the next speakers, if that's okay with you.